A very good morning to all of you. We gather here today on an occasion that is, by every measure, a landmark in academic history of this institution. It is with a deep sense of scholarly pride, institutional purpose, and genuine humility that I extend, on behalf of Unity PG College, Lucknow, a most heartfelt welcome to our distinguished chief guest, Professor Dr. Faizan Mustafa, sir. Respected Chairman, Honorable Justice Imtiaz Murtaza sir, respected Vice Chairperson ma'am, Ms. Samina Imtiaz ma'am, respected Secretary, Mr. Murtaza Hasnan Khan sir, respected Coordinator, Ms. Asma Javed ma'am, our Honorable Principal, Dr. Sunil Dhawan sir, distinguished members of the organizing committee, faculty, esteemed delegates, research scholars, students, and participants present in our hall, and to those joining us across the country beyond through the virtual medium. Today marked the inauguration of our institution's very first international conference, a moment that the college has long envisioned and earnestly worked towards. It is not merely a milestone on our academic calendar, but it's a declaration of intellectual ambition, of our commitment to global scholarly dialogue, and of our conviction that the most consequential ideas emerge when discipline, institution, and nation think together. This international conference is organized by Unity PG College in collaboration with Loyal Tech Stockholm, Sweden, a partnership that in itself is speak to the outward-looking, globally engaged character of this event. We are deeply grateful to our international partners for their association and support. The theme of this international conference, Governance, Innovation, and Society Emerging Multidisciplinary Challenges, is both contemporary and critically significant in today's rapidly evolving global landscape. We are living in an era marked by unprecedented technological advancement, shifting governance, and complex societal transformations. These changes demand not only specialized knowledge, but also a multidisciplinary approach to understanding and addressing emerging challenges. Governance today is no longer confined to traditional institutional framework. It increasingly intersects with digital technologies, data regulation, artificial intelligence, and global policy regimes. At the same time, innovation, while driving economic growth and development, raises important legal, ethical, and social and public policy requires collaborative engagement across discipline, including law, management, technology, social science, and education. By bringing together scholars, practitioners, and researchers from diverse fields, this conference seeks to create a platform for meaningful dialogues, critical analysis, and exchange of ideas. It aims to contribute to the development of innovative solutions and informed policy framework that are responsive to the needs of contemporary society. Furthermore, and as an international academic initiative, the conference reflects a commitment to global collaboration and intellectual exchange, fostering perspectives that transcend geographical and disciplinary boundaries. Spread across 2 days and different thematic tracks, with session being conducted in both in-person and virtual mode, this conference will feature paper presentation from scholars at various stages of their academic careers, from senior researchers to early career academics, all united by shared commitment to rigor relevant inquiry. We are grateful to acknowledge the support of IQAC Unity PG College and Just Corpus Legal Journal, whose institutional backing has been integral to the realization of this conference. And now, in keeping with our most cherished academic tradition, we shall formally commence this conference with the lighting of a lamp. A ritual across generation and across our culture has symbolized the illumination of mind and dispelling of ignorance. I most respectfully request our distinguished chief guests and dignitaries to kindly come forward and participate in this auspicious ceremony.
Sir, please go by seniority.
I request the dignitaries to please grace the dais. So please. It is a moment of great honor and privilege for us to have between us a distinguished academic and visionary leader, Professor Dr. Faizan Mustafa, sir. Professor Dr. Faizan Mustafa, a quintessential Algerian, did not just study at Aligarh Muslim University, but also became one of its most celebrated faculty member and administrator before taking his expertise to the national stage. He is widely regarded as one of the India's leading constitutional experts, known for his ability to deconstruct complex legal issues for the common citizens. Professor Dr. Faizan sir represents the modern intellectual evolution of the Aligarh movement. He carries the classic Algerian poise, articulate, balanced, and deeply rooted in his historical context, while fearlessly addressing contemporary challenge to the rule of law. He has taken the law out of the ivory towers of the high courts and into the palms of common man, proving that the legal literacy is the truest form of empowerment. The tradition of legal excellence at AMU is unparalleled. From the high benches of the Supreme Court to the classroom of national law universities, Algerians continue to guard the gates of justice. He was a founding vice chancellor of NUSRL Ranchi and served a highly distinguished decade-long tenure as vice chancellor of Nalsa University of Law, Hyderabad, one of the India's premium legal institutions. He currently serves as the vice chancellor of Chanakya National Law University, Patna. His YouTube channel, Legal Awareness Web Series, has popularized legal education, reaching millions who seek to understand the Indian Constitution and current legal affairs. He is frequent consultant for government bodies and prolific writer for leading national dailies, championing secularism, civil liberties, and federalism. Sir, your remarkable contribution to the legal education and institutional leadership have set exemplary standards in academia, and your presence today truly enriches this august gathering. We once again welcome you, sir. Now I request the Vice Chairperson, ma'am, to present a bouquet to our chief guest. I request Chairman Sir to present the memento to our esteemed chief guest. It is now my privilege to invite our respected principal, Dr. Sunil Dhawan Sir, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Subhi ma'am. On behalf of Justice Imtiaz Murtaza sir, Chairman of the college, Ms. Samina Imtiaz ma'am, Vice Chairperson of the college, Mr. Murtaza Hasnain Khan sir, Secretary of the college, and Ms. Asma Javed ma'am, Treasurer of the college, and entire organizing team, I welcome from the depth of my heart today's distinguished chief guest, Professor Faizan Mustafa sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Chanakya National Law University, Patna, in the inaugural session of this International Conference, Governance, Innovation and Society, Emerging Multidisciplinary Challenges. I am highly grateful, sir, for your graceful presence. It is really an honor for all of us that you are gracing this inaugural session. I welcome panel experts of different tracks who will chair the 2 days technical sessions. I also welcome the participants and delegates joining us both online and offline and making this conference a grand success. I am really thrilled to see the galaxy of researchers online and in this August house and trust that this academic discourse will conclude with highly fruitful results for the benefit of the academic world and the society. Once again, I welcome Honorable, Honorable Chief Guest of the session, Professor Faizan Mustafa, sir. Thank you very much.
We thank you, sir, for your gracious word. Now we move ahead to the another significant moment of this inaugural session. I humbly request our Honorable Chief Justice, Professor Dr. Faizan Mustafa sir, along with all the distinguished dignitaries present on the dais, to kindly unveil the conference Souvenir, which reflects the collective academic vision and scholarly contribution associated with this conference. Thank you, sir. Thank you all. With this, the inaugural session stands formally concluded. I request chief guests, dignitaries, and panel experts to kindly proceed for a brief tea break to the visitor room. I request all the delegates, participants, and faculty members to proceed to room M006 for a tea break. respected chief guests, distinguished dignitaries, faculty members, participants, and delegates. We now arrive at one of the most anticipated moments of this conference, the keynote address. It is a privilege of the highest order to introduce our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Faizan Mustafa, Vice Chancellor of Chanakya National Law University, Patna, a gold medalist from AMU, where he completed his LL.B, LL.M, and PhD. He later served as a registrar of AMU and a professor in Faculty of Law. Sir is widely regarded as one of the foremost constitutional law scholars of contemporary India. His academic career spanned decades of rigorous inquiry into constitutional law, administrative law, and jurisprudence, and his contribution to legal scholarship through books, research paper, and public discourse has helped to shape the contour of legal thought in this country. As a Vice Chancellor of Chanakya National Law University, Patna, he has demonstrated that institutional leadership and scholarly excellence are not competitive virtues. They are contemporary ones. His commitment to a right-based, inclusive, and just legal order has informed not only his scholarship but also his public engagement and his approach to institution building. It is a matter of great privilege for us that Sir has graciously agreed to deliver the keynote address at our first international conference. We are confident that his address will set a tone of scholarly rigor and intellectual depth for the deliberation that follows. I request Sir to kindly address the gathering.
Honorable Justice Imtiaz Murtaza sir, Madam Saima Imtiaz, Ms. Asma Javed, Principal Sahab, Secretary Sahab, faculty colleagues, delegates, and dear students, I feel humble and elated on being asked to deliver the keynote address. It is my first visit to Unity College, and I'm deeply impressed by the infrastructure and the way the conference has been organized, the kind of papers which are going to be presented. I had a look at the Souvenir. I was asked to write something for the Souvenir, but I was in United States and had no time to contribute. I am extremely sorry about that. Keynote addresses and convocation addresses are highly boring addresses. No one really likes them. The purpose of a convocation address is to speak on higher education and then give some parting message to the degree holders, in which neither degree holders nor the audience are generally interested. In keynote address, also though this is what the system is, generally the speaker would identify broad areas of around the theme of a conference and a seminar on which the discussion should take place. But by that time, as you know, all the papers have been written and the abstracts have been published in the Souvenir. Now, therefore, I have two choices. One, to speak and read out, because keynote address, like convocation address, are to be read rather than spoken ex tempore. And following Dr. Ambedkar, who in his entire life, wherever he went, whichever speech he gave, he prepared a written text and read it out. So it is available to us. I don't have that scholarly, personality like Ambedkar, but whenever you are invited for a keynote address or a convocation address, ideally you should be writing and reading. Since it's a mixed audience and some of the students are there, if you will insist, I will also read. I don't mind reading. But let me, at the very outset, make some preliminary remarks, and if you get bored with them, I can skip the written address. The theme is governance, innovation, and society emerging multidisciplinary challenges. The institutions of higher education are supposed to create knowledge. Schools are not supposed to create knowledge. But if you are a PG college or if you are a university, the expectation is that you create knowledge. Now, what is required to create knowledge? I have said it number of times in my articles and in my speeches. Knowledge creation can never take place in the controlled environment. If you put barriers on the creation of knowledge, this will be taught, that will be taught, this will be examined like this, that will be examined like this. NCRT will come up with this book, that book. Then knowledge creation will not happen. Therefore, in modern India, knowledge creation is not happening. And in spite of Prime Minister's desire that, and a very legitimate desire, that Indian universities should figure somewhere in top 100 or 200 universities of the world, we are not there. Because we are not creating knowledge. And we are not creating knowledge because higher education in India is over-regulated and grossly underfunded. The apex body called University Grants Commission, created by Maulana Azad and Nehru, was supposed to give grant. That very name says University Grants Commission. It does not give grants except to the central universities. Out of 1,087 universities in India, you have just about 44 central universities which get grants from UGC. Very few state universities get very less grant. Those grants used to be given to them during planning system. Plan grant as they were called. The new government in 2014, as you know, abolished planning commission, planning system, the new Niti Aayog has come in. And therefore, for the state universities or colleges, there is hardly any grant from the regulator of higher education. It merely controls. It does not give grant. America does not have anything called University Grants Commission. This is one level of problem. The other level of problem is, in spite of all our big talk of reviving the glorious Indian cultural heritage in the name of Hindutva, in the name of reviving our civilizational ethos, when it comes to education, we are absolutely going in the opposite direction. The Gurukul system of ancient India did not have anything like UGC. The Guru was autonomous in deciding what to teach, how to teach, whom to teach. In the process, Dronacharya discriminated against Eklavya. But that system produced Aryabhat because it was not a controlled system. That system produced Chanakya. And that system produced Upanishads. And that system produced Charak and several other Indian philosophers and thinkers. And therefore, if we need to do knowledge creation, one thing is to liberate higher education from the state control. Allow scientists and social scientists to decide their own research agenda. Even in United States and Canada and other Western countries, there is a problem of who sets the research agenda. As you know that most of the leading universities in US are private universities. Harvard and Yale, Columbia, all of them are private universities. The teachers, these faculty members of Unity should listen carefully. The teachers in US are given salaries only for 10 months. For 2 months, they have to raise their own salary out of the research grants, out of their projects. Now, since these projects come from the private sector, who sets the research agenda in United States? Private sector. So the government control is not there on the research agenda, but private control is there, which is equally bad. So even in United States, the researchers and the faculty members in higher education do not have the liberty to explore their natural instincts of research. Since funding is available in X field, they have to do the research in that field only. Now, this is not right. Now, these are 2 points. There should not be a government control of education if you want knowledge creation. And ideally, there should not be a private control of research agenda if you want knowledge creation. The third point which I would like to make is, where is knowledge? बैठ जाओ, I can wait. Knowledge is always at the intersection of disciplines. Therefore, multidisciplinarity. If you are only in your own subject, say I am in law, knowing nothing about history, knowing nothing about philosophy, political science, sociology, I won't be able to create knowledge. Knowledge is always at the intersection of disciplines. And therefore, interdisciplinarity and multidisciplinary approach. In fact, there is something beyond multidisciplinary approach today. It is called integration of knowledge. All subjects have to intersect to create knowledge. I remember some 20 years ago, under the influence of Arab countries, about which I have a very, very poor opinion, came in a project called Islamization of knowledge. This is ridiculous. There is nothing called Islamization of knowledge. All knowledge is secular. This whole division between ilm-e-deen and ilm-e-dunya is also a later innovation. Had that been the case, Prophet ﷺ would have said that people should come to Medina to learn. Why should go to China? China was not a center of Islamiyat, Islamic knowledge. So this is also an artificial classification. Ilme deen and ilme dunya. Similarly, it is an artificial classification that you are in maths and I am in law and you are in physics and I am in chemistry. All knowledge is integrated. And therefore, if you want to create knowledge, you have to be at the intersection of disciplines, you have to adopt the multidisciplinary approach and achieve the goal of integration of knowledge. The other crucial word in this seminar is governance. The best government is one which governs least. And therefore, the best government is one which does not believe in the control model. I just told you the knowledge cannot be created if you are in a control model. Control model of governance is the central characteristic of two opposite ideologies which behave in an identical way. The rightist ideology, whether it is the Hindu right, Muslim right, Christian right, Jewish right, Buddhist right in Myanmar, all rightist ideologies basically believe in control. And all communist ideologies also believe in control. They don't believe in the liberty model. And therefore, when I became vice chancellor and I said that let me experiment with the liberty model of administration and governance of the university, my fellow vice chancellors laughed at me. They said, you will fail in the first year itself. Alhamdulillah, it has been 15 years. Today, I am the senior most vice chancellor in the country. They ask me now that in our 3-year tenure, the students protest against us. How come when you are going even after 10 years or 3 years or 5 years, they are crying, nominating you, this and that? I said, because you believe in the control model. I believe in the liberty model. I don't do any tender without presence of students. In the recruitment of teachers, I involve students. They will select. There is no decision which is taken in my vice chancellorship without the participation of students. So the control model of the rightist ideology and the leftist or communist ideology is also bad. Knowledge creation will not take place. Because knowledge creation cannot take place if you cannot question. For the creation of knowledge, questioning the existing knowledge is necessary. You cannot create knowledge if you do not question existing views. You have to question them. You have to challenge them. One important reason of downfall of Muslim civilization is what? Taqleed. Taqleed is not knowledge creation. It is imitation. And therefore your law is hanging in the 11th century or 10th century. And therefore you are lagging behind. In governance, the model which will create knowledge is not a control model, but the liberty or the autonomy model. The best government will be one which governs least. Since we live in democracies, the model of our governance has to be a democratic model of governance. In democratic model of governance, people's participation, free and fair election, independent election commission, crucial. We are bringing the control model through spatial intensive revisions. And therefore, our democratic governance is feeling the heat of the control model. When the Constitution of India is saying that every adult is entitled to vote, how can even Supreme Court say that, okay, this time your name is not in the electoral roll, next time you vote? Our judges have forgotten Ashby versus White, the old classical tort case which is taught in the first semester. Somebody wanted to vote for X candidate, not allowed to vote. The candidate wins. Still the compensation was awarded because whether candidate wins or loses is not relevant. A right has been infringed. More control, what we did in Bihar, much greater control in terms of revision you see there, and the courts do not rise to the occasion. And the court appointed tribunal. They tell a tale of a story. What is the reality now? The request was that people whose cases are before tribunal be allowed to vote. Supreme Court did not agree. The tribunals examined some 1420 cases. In 1417 cases, they said they are entitled. 99% people were found to be entitled. And therefore, the whole exclusionary exercise was a negation of democratic governance. We are taking away the most fundamental right of the people to vote. Of course, the Supreme Court says it is not a fundamental right, but there are judgments which say it is very much the part of right to free speech. Vote is an expression of an opinion, though not very clearly mentioned in Part 3 of the Constitution. But after all, it is an opinion. How can you deny me to express my opinion? In the name of a misnomer called logical discrepancy, it is illogical discrepancy. It is absurd. And as a result, India's ranking on freedom of speech, yesterday it came down by 6 ranks, yet again. On all international rankings relating to democracy, World Justice Report, Rule of Law Report, Democracy Report, Freedom Report, we are doing badly. But the trend of threats to democratic governance is not confined to India. It's a global trend. There are books which have been written, How Democracies Die. If the central event of 19th century was death of God, The central event of 21st century is death of democratic governance and constitutionalism. How democracies are dying? We are electing leaders who by nature are authoritarian, who are destroying every institution of democratic participation and accountability. And it is a global trend. Hungary had it, they just got out of one big authoritarian rule. Turkey has it. Even United States has it. Number of Latin American countries have it. The world is going back to 1930s when you got Hitler. Authoritarianism is negation of democratic governance. Who is responsible for this death of democracy and democratic governance? Political parties. Because political parties know which member of their political party has authoritarian tendencies, yet they nominate those people to lead the governments. Governance without rule of law cannot be imagined. We are not living in a monarchy. Justice K.M. Joseph, as the Chief Justice of Uttarakhand High Court, while questioning the presidential rule in Uttarakhand, had said, well, the President of India is not the king. And therefore, even use of word Maharaj for the Chief Minister or the Prime Minister is a misnomer. Maharaj is a word for monarchy. Rajan is a word for monarchy. Do we pass laws which promote liberty or pass laws which promote control? If you pass laws like UPA, laws like Makoka, laws like love jihad, anti-conversion laws, these are all laws in the direction of curtailing liberties, curtailing freedoms, restricting freedoms. Rousseau was saying, man is born free and everywhere he is in chains. The chains have been tightened in 21st century. And we even don't understand what is happening to the legal structure of governance. Yesterday I was reading, now new Aadhaar card is to be obtained. Institutions, one is the level of participation of people in democratic governance. The other is the level of accountability of those who govern. What is the whole idea of constitutionalism? You may have a constitution that is not significant. After all, Saddam Hussein had a constitution. Hitler also had the Weimar Constitution. China also has constitution. Cuba also has constitution. Mere constitution is not a guarantee of good governance. Does the constitution and a legal system put restraints on the power? The idea of a governance is not that whom we elect, whatever they do is good. This is not the idea. The idea is that they are expected to do good. But if they do not do good, they will be held accountable. We do not believe, like Socrates, that if under law a bowl of poison is given to us, we will quietly consume it. Gandhiji has not taught us this. The salt satyagraha, the Dandi march, was a big lesson for a future republic. We are bound to obey laws only if they are just laws. The state has to come up with just governance. If you come up with unjust laws, then people have a right not to obey laws. This is what Father of Nation taught us. Unfortunately, the institutions of accountability like CAG, NHRC, you had remarks from one of the judge from Allahabad High Court day before yesterday, though the other judge dissented. But the fact of the matter is this, that the National Human Rights Commission does not really take up the issues of violations of rights anymore. When Prime Minister Narasimha Rao had established this commission, many of us have criticized it, that it does not have enough teeth. But as the first chairman of the commission, Justice Rangnath Mishra did a fairly good job. And then Justice Venkatacharya did a remarkable job. Justice J.S. Verma did a remarkable job. Now we have diluted, because we wanted to appoint Justice Arun Mishra, so we amended the National Human Rights Commission Act to make, the law was that only a former Chief Justice of India can be the chairman. We made it any judge of a Supreme Court can be the chairman. So the institutional autonomy which ensures democratic governance is feeling the heat and stress of a control model. The next crucial word in your theme of a seminar is innovation. I have already told you, innovation can take place only when knowledge creation is there. Students of law are aware that we have something called copyright. Copyright is a very low level of effort. Therefore, if I make a directory of all the students of Unity College, just collecting their phone numbers, I will have the copyright in it. But this is no knowledge creation. It is just a compilation. But if I want to get a patent, I have to do innovation. I have to create a novelty. It requires knowledge creation. And I told you, knowledge creation or innovation cannot take place if there are barriers put on the creation of knowledge. Whether that barriers are created by theologians in the name of ilme deen, ilme dunya, or by state they will destroy civilization. They will not help innovation. Imitation or taqleed does not lead to knowledge creation. Most of our researches are copy, cut, paste. With AI, it has become far more easier. I could have written this keynote address in 5 minutes if I know how to give prompt. Many innovations are taking place not to promote governance, but to control our lives, because that is what a state wants. So the surveillance has become the goal of innovation. All the time we are tracked, and all of us are trapped. The moment I agreed to come here, my mobile started showing me fares of Lucknow from Patna. I have not said anything. I just gave my consent on phone. अच्छा अच्छा ठीक है, किस तारीख को है, अच्छा अवेलेबल हूँ, आ जाता हूँ. I couldn't say no to his lordship. Just to give one example, Digi Yatra. What is the technology? What is the innovation involved? Facial recognition. एक मिनट में आप पास हो जाएंगे, लाइन नहीं लगनी. वैसे अब लंबी लाइन लगती है डिजी यात्रा पे. What does it really do? They say it will help facilitate investigation of crime or help state in identifying person of interest, that is criminal or accused, regardless of face mask, makeup, plastic surgery, beard or hair extension. This innovation of facial recognition is absolutely intrusive. What does it do? Computer algorithms map unique facial landmarks, a biometric data such as shape of cheekbones, contours of lips, distance from forehead to chin, and converts it into a numerical code termed as a face print. Thus, for the purposes of identification or verification, the system compares the face print generated with large existing data of face prints, which is available of crores and crores of people, through a database on driver's license or police mug shots, as they are called. This technology has already been implemented and rejected in United States, because in 70% cases it gives a false similarity. All of us have seen while using Turnitin, at times it gives a false similarity test. Because if I am writing in Keshavananda Bharati versus the state of Kerala, it will say similarity. But that is the name of the case, I can't change it. If I have to quote something from Justice Sikri's judgment, it is already there in the database, it shows similarity, so we say discard it. Many people, Muslims, minorities, blacks, people from certain geographical areas are adversely affected And once at the immigration gate, you say आपका मैच नहीं कर रहा या मैच कर रहा है किसी से इराक में, ईरान में, it's over. For rest of the life, you will spend defending yourself. It's all over. I understand that the accuracy level has improved due to modern machine learning algorithms, but the risk of error and bias still exists. And therefore, the possibility of producing false positive, a situation where the algorithm finds an incorrect match, even when there is none, will result in wrongful arrest. Why? Because the researchers have found that facial recognition software is based on pre-trained models. So certain types of faces, female, children, ethnic minorities, underrepresented in training data set, and then the bias will negatively impact its performance. Therefore, this innovation is not good for governance. You had so much of talk about Pegasus, borrowed from Israel. We have hundreds of Pegasus-like softwares within our own country. And they negatively impact our liberty, our autonomy, our freedom, and adversely affect good governance. And therefore, those innovations are not very important. I was reading a research recently, DNA testing. Now, judges are indiscriminately resorting to it, with due respect, sir. In Gujarat, majority of cases in which DNA testing was done, it did not match with father. So many homes are collapsing. And now they say that it is not 100% accurate technology. Every technology can be gamed. Every technology can give a wrong result, including EVM. After all, it is a technology. After all, it is a technology. And therefore, number of countries, there is a judgment from the Supreme Court of Germany rejecting it, that they reverted back to the ballot paper. If there is a technology, it can be gamed. After all, it is a human creation. So I have already given to you my perspective that in terms of this seminar's very interesting theme of governance, innovation, and society, how innovations impact society. There are innovations which have changed human life in terms of drugs, in terms of surgery, in terms of vaccines. But we must understand that knowledge creation cannot be a standalone project. It will involve multidisciplinarity challenges. A scientist must understand that the innovation they are making must be for the benefit of humanity. I was reading somewhere that one of the reasons that the enrichment in Iran reached only 62% and not beyond is that because the Rahbar said it in so many words that Islamically speaking, you are not supposed to make an innovation which will destroy humanity. Therefore, the distance between 62% and 95% is not much. And America is aware that the distance is short. That is their anxiety. And therefore, the predominant view of independent researchers is that it is part of a deliberate policy not to reach there. Because we should not create an innovation which will bring such kind of destruction. It is a different story that the country which has the unique record of dropping atom bombs is talking about nuclear threat. That's very interesting. If we really want to follow Cicero, that we should all be servants of law in order that we may be free, I think that the theme of this seminar is very important, contemporary. The students of law and the teachers of law must understand that they have to go beyond their narrow field of law. Even Kelson's, this whole idea of grand norm is not within the legal system. From where the grand norm draws validity, you have to look outside that pyramid. Why people follow law? This idea that law is different from morality of Austin has been rejected. How much religions have influenced development of law? How ethics shape law? How a particular law will have an impact on society? These are all the challenges. You become a good law teacher if you know sociology, if you know philosophy, if you know history, if you know political science. Somebody asked me, how did you develop interest in law and did well? They consider I did well. I don't consider I have done well. I said, Irfan Habib, because he taught me history so well that when I went to law faculty, because I was in an old system, after graduation you will do law, not under the current system. I use my knowledge of history, my understanding of history. I still remember telling my constitutional law teacher who was doing the death penalty, and we are talking, just we celebrated or recalled the 500th anniversary of first battle of Panipat on 21st April 1526 was the first battle. So just on 26th of April, 500 years have passed to this. Till 19th century, in England, 204 crimes were capital offenses. 204 जुर्मों के लिए सजाए मौत. If you look at Islamic criminal law, the hudud offenses are only 5 and 6. Then our courts evolved the rule after 1955 that life imprisonment will be the rule, death penalty will be an exception under 302. Then in 1980 they came up with Bachchan Singh and said, oh, only in rarest of rare death penalty will be awarded. I am telling you, in a discussion on death penalty, how I use my multidisciplinary approach as a student of law. I told my teacher, but sir, look at the Mughal period. From Akbar onwards, because Babur hardly had any time here, and then Humayun, went and came, and so it's only from Akbar. that the death penalty is to be awarded only when it is confirmed by the emperor, not once, on 3 different occasions. 3 times the emperor has to confirm. The matter will be put to him. This is the case. If he says death, then again after some time it is to be put to him. And then again after some time, then only death penalty is to be given. And that perspective and that historical knowledge, what you did in rarest of rare now, it is that kind of thing you see during Akbar. He probably believed, and rightly so, Maut kya ek lafz be-mani. Death is not even a punishment. The rightist regimes think death is a punishment, because they believe in retribution. Control model will have retribution also, deterrence also. Maut kya ek lafz be-mani, jisko mara hayat ne mara. Thank you very much. I think you are happy me not reading my keynote address.
We are deeply grateful to Professor Faizan Mustafa, sir, for his thought-provoking address to everyone. Your reflection on the contemporary challenges and evolving role of governance and innovation have truly set a high academic tone for this conference. The idea you placed before us, starting from talking about the UGC grant and then also laying emphasis on how everyone should focus on the integrated knowledge. But sir, I'm glad you didn't include maths to the law faculty, because law is maths is something that I think not everyone is comfortable with. But thank you for that thought, that how everyone should lay emphasis on the integrated knowledge. Thank you so much, sir. We are especially grateful for your time that you have taken out from your demanding schedule to be with us and to share your valuable perspective. Your presence has significantly enhanced the academic significance of this event. Now I request Asma Javed ma'am to please present a memento to the sir. Ma'am, so I would like to invite for a group photo in the front with everyone. So I request all the dignitaries and delegates to please come forward for a group photograph. अरे मैं मेरी खिंच गई है, तुम आ जाओ। Thank you so much, sir. We shall now have a lunch break. The technical session for the day one will commence at 1:30.